Trey Stewart is trying to make a new start. The 19-year-old was removed from his family when he was 6 months old. Disconnected from his kin and culture, he says he's now struggling to adjust to adult life.
It stuffed me up very much. I just see myself as the drifting person who doesn't really know much about himself.
The experience of young Aboriginals like Trey has prompted a group of grandmothers to unite against removals of their young. Sue Ellen Tai has 2 grandchildren in the care system and says that while many children need protection, they should be placed with extended family members.
My case is similar to lots of cases across Australia, and that's the issue, that this is systemic. It's not just isolated cases.
Other Aboriginal matriarchs say a new stolen generation is being created, a reference to families affected by government policies of forced removals of Indigenous children that ended in 1970.
It's actually the 5th stolen generation in my family. It's something that I call the continued stolen generation.
The most common cause for the removal of Aboriginal children is neglect. But a recent Senate inquiry into out-of-home care has found that a failure to understand cultural practices often leads to these findings.
Aboriginal children are 9 times more likely to be in out-of-home care than other Australians. Protesters here say this puts them on a path of further disadvantage.
1 in 2 children in juvenile detention are Aboriginal, and almost 40% have a history of out-of-home care.
Unless a substantial change in policy and practice happens, we are inevitably going to see an even greater number of Aboriginal people in our juvenile detention centres and in our jails, and that will be a disaster.
The government of New South Wales seems willing to make changes. The state has seen a 5-fold increase in the numbers of Indigenous removals in the last decade. It's promising a review into recent Aboriginal cases, but protesters are calling for it to be independent.
Sorry? Do you allow there to be more Aboriginal involvement in the review?
It's not just a matter of allowing, there must be. There must be.
Trey Stewart feels far removed from government reviews and protests. He's been sleeping rough for the last year and says he's happy to finally find a place to call home. Yaara Melhem, Jazeera, Sydney, Australia.